At its peak, Carvana was deemed the Amazon of used cars. Pretty bold statement, huh? I bought a car on Monday, and it was literally delivered to my doorstep 2 days later, ready to go. During the pandemic, everyone loved Carvana. No, but really, everyone. And it was quickly becoming one of the largest companies in the world. It took Carvana only 9 years to be included in the Fortune 500.
It's really revolutionized the used car business, and in the process, it has rocketed itself onto the Fortune 500 list. Number 483. Congratulations, Ernie.
A feat previously only achieved by powerhouses like Google and Amazon. But this didn't last long, and the collapse of Carvana is equally spectacular as its rise. From being compared to the likes of Amazon to being on the brink of bankruptcy, Carvana has seen all the highs as well as the lows in the business world.
Carvana is a perfect example of a stock that had everything go right for it during the first part of the pandemic, and subsequently seems to have almost everything going wrong.
It was deemed unstoppable, but now the future of the company is uncertain. Carvana had unprecedented growth, but you know what they say, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Let's get into it. In times when the world is going digital, an online car dealership sounds like a gold mine, right? Absolutely right. Initially, Carvana started as a subsidiary of DriveTime. DriveTime was owned by the father of Ernie Garcia III, one of Carvana's co-founders. Garcia and his father had years of experience running a car dealership. DriveTime was more on the traditional side of the car dealership business. Let's be real, the traditional way of buying a used car sucks, and not to mention it's complicated with tons of paperwork. Garcia wanted to change that. According to Garcia, the initial idea for a car dealership that would make car buying easier came when he was at a wholesale auction for cars. This was when he realized that buying a car literally takes only about 30 seconds instead of the normal 4 hours, and the buyers could return the car if any unreported problems were found upon inspection. This made him wonder if he could do the same thing, but as a retail. The car dealership industry is well established, and to dispute it would be challenging, but what Garcia had was experience. This experience proved to be one of his biggest advantages later on. Garcia and his friends Ryan Keaton and Ben Huston were also up for the challenges that would come with being a disruptor in the industry, and in 2012, Carvana was founded. With this, it would become the world's first 100% online car retail. Was that cheesy? Okay, anyways. The retail car industry is considered to have the most uncomfortable experience for customers, and Carvana's main goal was to change that. The company wanted to make the process of buying a used car as comfortable and as smooth as it could, and believe it or not, they delivered on their promise. The customers could choose from thousands of cars from their website, and after finding the perfect match, they could have it delivered. Literally delivered to your driveway. Carvana made it so simple to buy, sell, and finance your car. For some people, going out to the physical dealership to buy a car could seem overwhelming, especially if you have little knowledge of cars. Physical dealerships meant the salespeople were breathing down your neck, telling you about the gazillions of features that you have absolutely zero clue about. With Carvana, the customers could pick out the cars at their own pace straight from the internet. Who wouldn't love to have thousands of selections, no persistent car salesman breathing down your neck, and a lower price? With this, Carvana's business took off. Everyone saw so much potential in Carvana that it soon was deemed the Amazon of used cars. Another thing that Carvana did to stand out from its competitors was its car vending machine. Yes, a car vending machine. It could get any adult excited. They were the first company with a car vending machine. The idea for it initially started in 2013 in Atlanta, and in 2015, it opened its first car lot in Nashville. Even we adults need something exciting in our lives. These car vending machines made adults picking out their cars feel like a kid in a candy store. It was a hit, and it got huge media coverage. Even if people did not know what Carvana was before, they did after the media attention it got. Basically, on the day of the desired pickup date, the customer went to the location of the vending machine. After getting there, they were given a Carvana coin, which they could then use to get their car from the vending machine. After Nashville, these vending machines were opened in Houston, Austin, and San Antonio. There are currently 30+ vending machines throughout the country. Carvana was expanding rapidly, and before it filed for IPO, an unnamed investor invested $460 million in the company. On April 28, 2017, the company went public. They raised about $225 million. In 2018, it acquired Car360. The company used augmented reality technology to take 360 pictures of their cars. This was a plus for Carvana. The company was also data-centric and used data to improve its customer experience. Carvana also acquired Carlypso. This critical piece of technology allowed Carvana to accurately value cars without physically inspecting them. This tool helped Carvana acquire tons of data and analyze it. Let's just say the company was doing well, as it had a growth rate of more than 100% every year since its inception, but it was not prepared for what was coming. In 2020, the COVID pandemic hit, and most businesses went online or went under. Carvana was one of the few companies that already had the ecosystem built for e-commerce. With that, its sales skyrocketed. Cars became a necessity as social distancing was required, and you could not travel in public vehicles. Along with this, the government provided stimulus checks, which meant people had money to spend. While other businesses were having difficulty staying afloat, Carvana's revenue continued to increase. In 2021, Carvana had a revenue of $12.814 billion. That's more than double what it earned in 2020, and almost 4 times what its revenue was in 2019. 2021 was a grand slam for the company. In 2021, it entered the Fortune 500 list, making it one of the youngest companies to do so. It was able to achieve this in just 9 years. They became the 3rd company that achieved this after Google and Amazon. It was also in August 2021 when its stock price shot up to an all-time high of $370.10. Carvana became the fastest-growing automotive retailer in the country, within less than a decade of it being founded. An entrepreneur's dream. It's no secret that culture attributed to the growth of the company exponentially. They are very strict on company values, and all the employees are encouraged to follow them. Carvana is very customer-centric. It was named the number 2 automotive brand on Forbes' 2022 Most Customer-Centric Companies list. The evidence of their strong culture and value towards everyone was seen during the pandemic. Carvana didn't lay off one employee to cut costs, when all the companies were doing so left and right. Instead, they cut 80% of hours and created a fund to benefit employees whose hours were cut. Most of the employees contributed to the fund, and it raised millions. If this isn't an example of a strong culture, I don't know what is. While we're still on the topic though, the company did end up laying off tons of employees later down the line after its struggles started. At first glance, it seemed as if the company was on top of the world. But as they say, looks can be deceiving. After its unprecedented growth, the company has faced many problems in recent years. Some even think bankruptcy is inevitable. The company did most things right, with its focus on customer experience, culture, and vending machines, but there are tons of things it did wrong that have landed the company on its deathbed. One of the major things that has backfired is the company's high emphasis on growth rather than profit. So much so that it almost looks as if their whole business model is flawed, as they're not making any profit. You'd expect a company with such huge revenue to make some profit, but nope, the company hasn't earned any profit since it was founded. Especially during the times of COVID, the demand for used cars was high. The business expanded without doing a proper analysis of the future trends that could come in the industry. This meant the management side of the company was pure chaos. They overhired. They overexpanded. How long can this be sustained? Shortly after, the problems started rolling in. The company took so much time to register a vehicle after the customer purchased it that it was impossible to drive it without getting in trouble with the law. Some customers even called the experience with Carvana a nightmare.
Carvana is taking the lengths of time they are to process titles and registrations.
Attorney Robert P. Coco is suing Carvana, alleging Carvana has failed to properly transfer ownership of hundreds of vehicles nationwide.
After some time, it looked like Carvana lost sight of its core goal of making the car buying process for customers smooth, easy, and fast. Soon, various states had enough of Carvana's unwillingness to comply. Legal challenges started to mount, and various states like Illinois and Michigan suspended its license. With the turmoil piling up, the pandemic left a huge strain on the company, which meant inflation started to rise along with interest rates. This made car buying more pricey, and the demand for new rides drastically declined. They also couldn't meet the customers' demand as they bought the cars at a high price. The company's stock price had plummeted by about 97% by the end of 2022. The company that constantly boasted about having the best company culture and not prioritizing profit over people unexpectedly laid off 2,500 of its employees. So much for people over profit, huh? Carvana has also been constantly criticized for focusing on the wrong things, like spending too much on marketing rather than focusing on providing efficient services to the customer as it promises. With the amount of expansion they did, the logistics of the company were bound to be expensive and complicated. The company also needs to spend a lot of time on inspections, and of course, the recall costs money if something goes wrong after the customer receives the vehicle. This makes the operations of the company costly. To gain a competitive advantage, the company needs to sell the cars at a lower price than its competitors. The math just ain't mathing over on the Carvana side of the house. With a decline in sales, legal troubles, and customers losing faith in the company because of bad experiences, many people assumed that this would be the end of the company and bankruptcy was inevitable. But it looks like the revolutionary car dealership is not ready to give up just yet, and does not plan on going without a fight. In a report published in May 2023, the company reported its best first quarter yet. This has caused the stock price to rise.
Carvana here. They're getting a boost this morning after the company updated its financial outlook, now expecting total gross profit per unit above $6,000 in the second quarter of 2023 and adjusted EBITDA above $50 million here.
As of June 23rd, 2023, Carvana's market cap is $4.83 billion. It looks like there might still be hope for the company if they can get their stuff together. While the founders were building the company, they could not have imagined the heights their used car business would reach. With its innovative thinking and customer-centric approach, the company was able to dominate the used car industry, coming in second after CarMax. With its vending machine, it created a fun mix-up of online and physical shopping. Maybe with time, the people running the company got overconfident and thought that the company was too big to fail. Its frequent run-ins with the law and customer dissatisfaction are evidence of it straying away from its roots. For now, the company is struggling to stay afloat and get back on track. The market needs disruptors like Carvana to break the traditional system and industries. For now, we can only hope that Carvana makes a comeback. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Catch you on the next episode.